Hello and welcome to another episode of Worlds Collide. I'm your host Justin,
And I'm Mitch.
and today we're bringing you Kyle Raynor.
Technically, our second part to the Green Lantern mythos.
Yes, because there are many lanterns.
Yes,
And many colors of lanterns.
And the stories get complex and detailed and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we do a little recap on what people might have missed in our first episode of Green Lantern. If you're just tuning in now and you didn't catch part one, that way we can kind of catch them up quick.
Yep. So that's exactly what I had myself set up for. So, yeah, in our first episode, we went over the origins of Green Lantern, going way back to the first publication of Green Lantern, which was Alan Scott, back in All-American Comics number 16 in 1940.
Way back in the Golden Age.
Yes. And then in the Silver Age of comics, after Barry Allen, The Flash, revitalized the era of superheroes in comics in 1952, we got the first appearance of Hal Jordan, the new incarnation of the Green Lantern, the Silver Age, and the modern era Green Lantern, in Showcase number 22 in 1959.
And the biggest thing that we can say between Green Lantern 1 Alan Scott, Green Lantern 2 Hal Jordan, it went from being powered from the ring and being part of the Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
Whereas before, Alan Scott got his power from the green.
Well, no, the green wasn't introduced until later. Originally, he did get his powers from the Lantern. Just but he carried not the central power battery lantern. Like, he carried a lantern that he would charge.
And this thing was like an antique from hundreds of years before.
Yeah, ancient China. But yeah, this and so
Alan Scott was a mutant, though.
No,
he didn't. What varied between him and Hal?
Well, eventually they ended up retconning and making it so that he ended up absorbing the powers of mystical powers of what ends up being known as the something heart, the heart of something. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
But he ends up absorbing this power, and this power comes from the green, which is the mystical, magical element of growth and life and
nature. It's like Gaia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Although he doesn't make trees grow, he has similar powers to the actual Green Lantern, which is making heart-like constructs.
Yeah, so that was Green Lantern 1. We covered him and Hal Jordan.
Yep.
In our first episode.
Well, more than that, actually. I ended up going back and making sure that I know exactly what we covered. And that episode ended up going to an hour, almost an hour and a half, an hour and 20 some odd minutes. We try to cram as much as we can. Not going to do that this time. So what else we covered in the last episode is we also talked about Guy Gardner. Yep. Guy Gardner was the second Green Lantern, technically. Third, really, but technically the second Green Lantern. Because when Hal Jordan got chosen, it just happened to be a proximity thing. If Guy Gardner was closer to
the ring,
Eben Sur.
Yeah, the Lantern who had died to pass on the powers.
That's right. If Guy Gardner had been closer, Guy Gardner would have been the Green Lantern instead of Hal Jordan. So Guy Gardner ended up being Hal Jordan's backup. So he ended up getting activated as a Green Lantern. He gets his own Green Lantern ring. His first appearance was in Green Lantern issue number 59 in 1968. So 9 years after Hal Jordan's first appearance.
Yep.
During an earthquake, Guy is hit by a bus while saving students. The Guardians end up naming... Oh, yeah, right. So, Guy was escorting these kids because he's kind of like a teacher kind of thing. And, anyways, and these kids ends up almost getting hurt. And Guy ends up saving them, but in the process, he ends up getting put in a coma. Guy goes in and out of comas a lot throughout in the first parts of his history.
That whenever they want to bench him, he's in a coma.
That's right.
It's an easy way to sideline a character, and it's a reoccurring, his brain's just, it's a fragile thing.
Yeah. And the first time this happened to him, that's when they brought in John Stewart, kind of like Guy's replacement, Guy's backup.
So it went from Eben Sur being an alien lantern.
Yes.
Crash landed through battle on Earth.
Yes.
Now, even though he's an alien, he's still was in control of that sector of the galaxy.
Yes.
So that's how the Lanterns work. They control sectors of the galaxy. Now,
Not control. They protect.
Protect. Govern. Yes, police.
Yeah.
Police, in a sense.
Yeah.
So, when Hal was chosen, was he the first Earthling, essentially?
Essentially, yeah.
Right. Now, him and Guy were the first two, and then John Stewart was the first Black Lantern.
That's right. And he was DC's first black superhero.
Yeah, so he set the bar high for the movement.
Yes.
Coming into comics.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So John Stewart's first appearance was in Green Lantern number 87, 1972.
What would you now? You've covered this before. Each lantern uses the powers of the rings a little differently.
Yes. So
John-
Hal is very basic, not as basic as Guy. So Hal, he's military, Air Force. So he traditionally used boxing gloves, or he'll use like a guillotine to trap people, or he'll use an actual he'll use his Green Lantern to make a hard-light construct jet and ram that jet into people. Or that jet has like rail guns, and those rail guns start shooting Green Lantern bullets at something.
Yeah, Hal typically sticks to the tech he knows and
Yes.
uses in his, I'd say, career.
Yes.
Because he does it for fun. He
Yeah.
does it for work. He's a
And-
pilot.
And Hal is a pretty good boxer, so that's why the boxing gloves.
Yeah, his big thing is, and you can almost picture it like a cartoony aspect, like that wind-up ejector punch.
Yes.
Like, he does things like that.
Yes.
Versus, like you said, Guy is so basic, it's more of like blunt objects, swords and maces and mauls.
Or just a blast with no imagination to it whatsoever. He's just raw.
Raw power.
Yeah.
Raw fury, raw anger. He's emotional.
Yeah.
Guy's the more emotional of the Lanterns, I'd say.
Absolutely. And then John Stewart, he is also ex-military, but originally he was an architect, so he put a lot of details in his like
trebuchets. He's doing catapults, and
Yes.
he has like compound triggers working in his apparatuses of sorts. Like, it's fun to watch.
Yeah. So John Stewart, 1972, in the 80s. Or in the 80s, but before Crisis, Hal ends up getting the choice of either continue as a Green Lantern or go off with his girlfriend, the love of his life, Carol Ferris.
Waiting room music. I hope it's not elevator music.
You can hear us now, right?
Yeah, that's what I was more concerned with.
Is
the music still
Is
playing?
the music still playing?
Should be turned off.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah. But yeah, so Hal ends up having to choose between his girlfriend Carol Ferris or continue as a Green Lantern. He chooses Carol. So him and Carol end up having their own life together, and this is when John Stewart took over as full-time Green Lantern protector of our sector.
Now, did Hal give that ring to John?
No, John already had his own ring.
So Hal just kind of put it in the box and said, "I'll save it for later."
Pretty much. He told John, Earth is now under your protection.
Took a little leave of absence.
Yeah.
Cool.
But then when Crisis on Infinite Earth happens, after Crisis, with all the reboot and everything, Hal returned being the Earth's protector, our sector's protector. He returned being our main Green Lantern.
Yeah, now doesn't Guy get killed during Crisis?
Yeah, a lot of things happen. So Guy ends up, not killed, he ends up getting put back into a coma, I think.
Yeah.
And I think John ends up getting crippled. No, that's way later, actually. He gets crippled. We'll go over that in a second.
We'll go over that.
Yeah.
Crisis was a big event, though. It basically, John had the spotlight.
Yeah.
Past Crisis, they decided Hal was the bigger seller. Hal was the bigger pick for comic fans.
Yes.
So they decided to bring him back into the spotlight.
Yes.
And it's a common theme we see throughout the decades where they try to steer away. They say, okay, he's had his run.
Yeah.
Let's see if another person can fill the shoes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't go over so well.
Yeah.
And it's up to the reader to kind of give that feedback.
Yeah.
For them to then better set up the next few years and issues and decades to come.
Yeah.
And Crisis, prime example. We brought back Barry.
Yeah.
Right? We brought back Hal.
Yeah.
some big names for comic book readers that they were sad to see go missing.
Yes.
But they were damn happy to see return.
Yeah. Well, no, Barry died in Crisis.
Yeah.
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 So, but yeah. So, Hal ended up coming back as a Green Lantern. We're not, like I said, just to recap. Some other points that happened. It's going to be everything that I'm mentioning right now does have a point, and it does have a part to play in what we're going to be covering today with Kyle Raynor. Guy ends up coming out of his coma, and he has his own adventures and stories and whatnot. But amongst those stories, he ends up finding out that he has he's part alien. He's actually has Voldarian blood, Voldarian heritage. And his heritage, when it got activated, gave him kind of like shape-shifting abilities. He gave him the ability to create weapons out of his own hands, out of his own arms.
This guy?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, and he ended up making he can make himself larger and physically stronger, and he ended up getting the name Warrior. Was his new name? Was his new superhero name?
He was still a Lantern though.
No, he did not. He did not have his lantern ring anymore.
Oh wow!
Yeah, his lantern ring, I'm pretty sure, got destroyed during Crisis. He lost it during Crisis.
I kind of like the new powers. Warrior.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
it almost reminds me of the T2 Terminator.
Almost.
Right?
Or more like the one from Terminator 3, the chick. Because Terminator 2 couldn't make firearms. He only made like swords.
Oh wow! Guy can make firearms out of his arms, like blast cannons, like Cyborg and stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, when I say like weapons, I'm not talking like maces and whatnot. I'm talking.
That's what I was picturing.
No, I'm talking like rail guns. Like he makes his arm look like this.
I got this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Samus arm comes out.
Pretty much.
That's pretty wicked.
Yeah.
So then, yes, Terminator 3.
Yes. And Jon Stewart as well. He ended up. So there's Guy Gardner there.
I was gonna say there's Guy, there's Kilowog, and Raynor.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes. Behind here is Green Lantern Rebirth, which is Hal,
of course.
So obviously, between all of these are your main cast Green Lanterns. Although last episode and this episode, we won't be talking too much about Kilowog. Just know that Kilowog was Hal's best friend. He trained Guy. He helped train Hal a little bit.
He's their basic combat instructor.
Yeah, and also best friend. He's like good friends of all three human Lanterns, especially Hal and Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Hal and Guy.
And he's a good comic relief.
Yes. Yeah, calls everybody posers.
Posers.
Yeah.
Posers.
But yeah, so Jon Stewart, he ended up going through some tragedies himself. Jon Stewart ended up, so his wife ends up getting murdered, and while he was trying to protect this planet, he was unable to save it from getting destroyed. And Martian Manhunter blamed him for the destruction of the planet.
And this is Earth?
No, a different planet.
Okay.
A different planet, but in that sector, in our sector.
Right. It's like, well, this is your job.
Yeah, pretty much. And he failed to protect it. He got framed for murder, I think, or theft, or something. He got framed for something. And what else happened to him? Well, anyway, because of all these different things that happened to him, he started becoming suicidal. He had suicidal thoughts. Depression started to set in. But then he was given a second chance. He was given a chance to lead this group and to save this tribe, this family, this alien race.
Yeah.
And after succeeding that, the Guardians of the Universe, which, by the way, the Guardians of the Universe is the little blue alien men who gave the powers the Green Lanterns. They're the ones who are the ones who are in charge of the Green Lantern. But the Green Lantern Corps are like we said, a police force that police the universe. The Guardians of the Universe, not to be confused with the Guardians of the Galaxy, are little blue men who may or may not have been the origins of leprechauns. Sure, I guess we talked about that in our first episode. One of the Guardians of the Universe ended up being on Earth, and
someone saw him.
Yeah,
and he told them he was a leprechaun.
Yeah, like the birth of the Legends of the Leprechaun was a Guardian of the Universe.
That's hilarious because like you said, they're bluish, small,
long hair,
old-aged men with big ears and white hair.
And magical powers.
Yeah.
Well, what would be considered magical powers?
They have kind of a green robe too, don't they?
Yes.
Leprechaun.
Yes. But yeah, so the Guardians named Jon Stewart as a guardian of the universe. He was the first mortal to ever be officially a guardian of the universe.
Just because they're happy with him, they gave him this prestigious title.
That's right.
Did anything come with the title other than the title?
I don't think so.
New powers?
I don't think so.
Damn.
Maybe, but I don't think so.
A raise?
No. Then, after all of that, Hal goes insane.
What drives him to go insane?
So,
this is when he's still with Carol Ferris, living his happy ever after life.
Yeah. No, so after Crisis came back as a Green Lantern, remember?
Oh, he came back as the Lantern.
Yeah.
He's been Lantern now for a while.
Yeah, for a decade now.
Okay.
Because, so, Crisis on Infinite Earth happened in 1985, Death of Superman happened in 1992, and in 1993 or 4 is when Hal went insane. So what happened was, Death of Superman happened, 4 new Supermen were created. One of those Supermen was Cyborg Superman, and he was the main villain of the Reign of Superman storyline.
Right.
In that storyline, Cyborg Superman and another Superman villain named Mongol showed up in Coast City. One second here.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, Coast City, I think it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mongol and Cyborg Superman showed up in Hal's hometown, destroyed it from the face of Earth, like all his family, friends, everything he's ever loved,
everything you've ever known,
gone, destroyed, dead. So Hal lost it and tried to use his lantern to recreate,
bring them back to life.
Pretty much, yeah. And the city, everything, brought everything back to life with the lantern. That's a big no-no amongst the Green Lantern, and the Guardians of the Universe tried to reprimand him. Well, he kind of lost his shit with that because after all he's done for this universe, after everything he's done for the Guardians of the Universe, all the sacrifices he's made. The one time he tries to use the lantern for selfish reasons, they're going to reprimand him. He ends up losing it. He ends up killing all of the Guardians of the Universe except for one, Ganthet, who ends up surviving without Hal noticing. He ends up killing several members of the Green Lantern Corps, including Sinestro, and Kilowog, and
just kills everyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like Anakin.
Yeah.
Walking through the Jedi Temple, just slaughtering all the Padawans.
Absolutely, yeah. He definitely pulled an Anakin. He ended up taking on the name of Parallax. And he was a DC villain for a couple of years until until the Earth's sun was about to get destroyed, and he ends up sacrificing himself to reignite the sun. And after sacrificing himself to reignite the sun, saving everybody, he ended up getting reincarnated into the Spectre, the new incarnation of the Spectre.
Right. Hal has had quite the friggin' journey.
Yes.
From mere combat pilot.
Yes.
To Lantern.
Yes.
To savior of the world. To happily ever after. To timeline getting rewrote. Loses his happily ever after. Back into the action.
Yeah.
A few years go by and... Well, obviously, he loses everyone he's ever known and loved.
Yeah.
Gets reprimanded by the people who gave him his powers after trying to do right.
Yeah.
And then he just goes off the dark end.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just fucking deep dives.
Yeah.
But then he redeems himself.
Yes. And he ends up becoming the Spectre, which is the
ubermost, God's wrath.
Yeah, the physical, well, not physical, he is the representation of God's wrath. I can't really say physical because he's not really dead.
The embodiment of God's wrath.
Yeah. So that's pretty much a very quick recap, and that was as quick as we can. That took us half an hour. That episode was an hour and a half.
Now you know what you missed.
Yes.
In
now,
short detail.
For this episode, Kyle Raynor. So what happened was when Hal ended up losing his marbles and killing all the Guardians of the Universe, Ganthet, the soul-swearing guardian, went back to Earth, and since almost all the Green Lanterns were out, at this point here, John Stewart, I forgot to mention this in the recap. John Stewart ended up becoming a quadriplegic during his fight against Hal Jordan Parallax. And Guy Gardner's no longer a Green Lantern, so pretty much there's no Green Lantern for this sector. Ganthet ends up going to Earth, and he ends up finding Kyle Raynor, and he ends up giving Kyle Raynor the ring. So let's go here. Kyle Raynor, his first appearance as Kyle Raynor was in Green Lantern Volume 3, issue number 48 in 1994.
Had he ever appeared as anyone else before that?
No. So he was introduced in Green Lantern issue number 48, 1994.
Yeah.
2 issues later, he's now Green Lantern. Green Lantern issue number 50, he's now the new Green Lantern. So he got introduced in Green Lantern issue number 48, and then issue number... So there's pretty much what's going on in the DC universe, and then there's this human that... Issue number 48, we don't know he's going to be the Green Lantern, just introducing this guy named Kyle Raynor. And then, 2 issues later, that's when Ganthet finds him, gives him the ring, and he becomes a new Green Lantern.
Yeah, so they're just setting up the plot. 2 issues previous, you're like, irrelevant! I don't care about you. Anyways, human.
Yeah, and then you find out, oh, no, he's actually important.
Makes you go back 2 issues. Okay, wait, human. Yeah. Okay, what about you?
Yeah. So Kyle is actually a struggling but gifted freelance comic book artist.
Okay.
Yeah. Who was born and raised in North Hollywood, and when we first see him in comics, he's actually living in LA.
Okay.
And he's got a girlfriend named... Alexandra DeWitt. We'll get back to her in a second. Kyle was raised by his single mother.
Yep.
His dad abandoned his mom when she was still pregnant with him, and he's the only child. You find out later on that his dad is actually a Mexican-American CIA agent named Gabriel Vasquez, and Aaron Raynor was just an alias. So Kyle Raynor, the family name Raynor never really existed. Technically, it should be Kyle Vasquez, but he was Kyle Raynor because that was his father's alias's name, Aaron Raynor.
So his real name would be Vasquez, though.
That's right. That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. When Ganthet found Kyle, he ends up, the words he says begrudgingly when he gives the ring to Kyle is, I guess you'll have to do. So, everybody else has been sure. Hal Jordan was meant to be a Green Lantern. Guy Gardner was meant to be a Green Lantern. John Stewart was meant to be a Green Lantern. Kyle Raynor, I guess you'll have to do here.
Oh, man. Talk about getting the shit into the stick. Huh?
Yeah. Well, and the thing, though, so there's a lot of things that makes Kyle unique to all the other ones. One of the main things is that when Hal, Guy, and John were all chosen, whenever a Green Lantern was ever chosen by the ring, it's always choosing somebody who doesn't know fear, who is fearless. Because the antithesis to willpower is fear. Which is why there are more...
How do you break willpower? Cause doubt.
That's right. That's
fear.
right. That's right. Now, Kyle knows fear. Kyle is not fearless. He knows fear, but he also knows how to overcome fear.
Okay.
So that's what makes him different to...
He can let it in, and then he can block it out.
That's right.
Whereas someone else will let it in and it'll overpower.
That's right. Somebody who's never really experienced fear, when somebody's forcing fear on them, they don't know what to deal with it. Kyle, since he's lived with fear and he pushes past fear, it makes it so that he doesn't get touched by Parallax's influence.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, what also makes him different to the other Green Lanterns that we've seen is that, like I said, Kyle Raynor is a talented comic book artist. So his green light constructs are the most creative of all the Green Lanterns. the most randomly. So, like, he creates cartoon characters out of his Green Lantern rings. He creates other superheroes. Like, he's actually a Batman and Superman fanboy. He didn't know much about other superheroes, but he knew Batman and Superman. And he was a fan of them. So he'll create, like, hard-like constructs of Superman and Batman and like, send them to fight villains. And he'll make, like, Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny and like they'll like go kick some villain or whatever.
That's funny.
He even creates images of hard-like construct images of his own original comic book creations. He also
that's pretty good. Pretty good use of that power.
Yeah. What else does he?
Better the imagination, better the.
Mech suits as well. He's also known to create mech suits around himself. So it's a mech suit that's protecting him, and it's shooting up Green Lantern missiles and shooting like Green Lantern lasers,
like Gundam Wing style,
kind of, yeah.
Pacific Rim,
yeah. Well, kind of like picture Lex Luthor's mech suit, but Green Lantern version.
Construct.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So it makes people think that it might be a little inefficient use of his powers, but it also makes him very unpredictable compared to other Green Lanterns.
Yeah, I don't know about inefficient.
Yeah.
More like surprise.
Yeah. Instagram. Too bad there's no N in there. It'd be, no, it's Instagram.
Instagram?
No, there isn't S. Instagram.
Trying to read things from far away is not working well right now.
So, one thing that Kyle is known for, and it's not one bad thing he's known for, one contribution he has to the comic mythos as a whole is what happens to his girlfriend. So his girlfriend, which I mentioned earlier,
Alexandra DeWitt.
Alexandra DeWitt. Thank you. So Alexandra DeWitt, he ends up finding her dead, murdered in his fridge, in his refrigerator. And so
I didn't make that for lunch.
Yeah, so this was done by Major Force. I'll talk about Major Force in a second.
Right.
So like I said, she was murdered and stuffed in Kyle's fridge for him to find her stuffed in his fridge, in his refrigerator. And the reason why this is a mainstay of comic book lore now is because whenever they're talking about a plot device used, a character introduced with no long-term planning, just there to drive the plot by killing her and stuffing her in a fridge, is pretty much that whole entire thing is about.
Why introduce a character other than to kill her and stuff her in a fridge?
Exactly.
Basically, it's just a plot device.
That's right.
So this was like one of those like 100% plot devices where it's like she had no reason to be here other than to die and drive the story.
Exactly.
Okay.
Although I don't see, that's the way I understood, but I don't see why people say that, because
many characters are planted that way. Like that's almost how every story is written.
Uncle Ben.
Hello.
But she actually had a part in Kyle becoming a superhero. Like, she knew that he was a Green Lantern. She helped train him into becoming a superhero.
How?
Just by giving him ideas on how to use a Green Lantern, I guess.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of like in Shazam, she was his little Billy's friend.
That's right.
Try flying.
Yeah.
Do you have super strength? Oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, she helped him also mature, just grow up and be responsible with these new powers. This is what she taught him how to be.
So she was in the picture for a while prior to her death. Then.
Yes.
Okay.
Not a while, so maybe a year later kind of thing.
Oh, okay, but long enough for her to get his hero story underway and for her to help him in his Padawan journey.
That's right.
Okay.
So Major Force, I wasn't quite familiar with who this was, so I ended up having to do a little bit of research on Major Force. Major Force is a Captain Atom villain.
Okay.
And when I was researching Major Force, I firmly believe that we haven't seen him in any of the movies, and we've seen him in one animated movie as far as I know, maybe two. One for sure. But he was in Batman, Superman, Public Enemies.
I think I know which guy you're talking about.
He looks like Captain Atom, but red
Yes.
with a M on his chest.
Yes. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Major Force. Major Force was put through the same experiments that created Captain Atom, except he was given more of the material that created Captain Atom and was fused with more radiation to create him. So
And
Captain
done
Atom,
by Soviets, was it not? Or
no, U.S. military.
Oh, U.S. still did him too.
Yeah. Because when Captain Atom disappeared, they wanted to recreate the process but make him more powerful and be Captain Atom's replacement. Problem is, the guy they used to become Major Force was insane. They found him in prison for murder and rape.
Why'd they pick him?
I don't know. Because...
This is a brilliant idea.
I know, right?
Choose him. He's my friend.
Yeah. So, Captain Atom has the ability to control all forms of energy. Major Force has the ability to control all forms of matter. So he could create like dark matter. Let me go to my notes on Major Force. And there's a reason why
that
I'm
sounds
actually
way more powerful than energy. Like
he's actually not. He's actually not as powerful as Captain Atom, but he's definitely up there.
With no matter, there can be no energy.
Well, because matter gets turned into energy
As soon as it moves.
What's that?
As soon as it moves, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but he's not as powerful. He can't absorb things like Captain Atom can.
You know your one YouTube show or whatever that you watch, cause science.
Yeah.
These guys, I would like to see on that show.
Yeah.
I feel like Major Force might come out on top.
Yeah. Well, I think in the comics they might have limited him, but still, it's not. So let's not downplay Major Force's power. Major Force is strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Superman.
Yeah.
Major Force has the ability to create...
Well, if he has matter control, can he literally tear Superman apart like a molecule?
No, that's what I mean. He's not that powerful. He's not that powerful, but he is able to create high-velocity blasts of dark matter. He can manipulate the dark matter into various shapes and quantities. So kind of like a Green Lantern. He could create hard-like constructs. Well, he could create different objects out of dark matter.
Doesn't sound good.
No. And so the reason why I'm touching about this because he ends up getting hired by this group who wanted Kal Raynor's ring. So he ended up killing Kal Raynor's girlfriend, stuffing her in the fridge to get his attention. Well, got his attention.
I'm listening. Now what?
Yeah. So Kal ends up kicking his ass. But then after those events happened, like he needed to get away from LA, so he ended up moving to New York. The reason why I wanted to bring up Major Force because we're not done with Major Force. Major Force ends up becoming he is Captain Atom's arch nemesis, but he also becomes a major villain of Guy Gardner. He fights Guy Gardner a couple of times, and decapitation has always been his calling card, like because he ends up. What did he do to Guy Gardner? I think it was his neighbor. He ended up killing and trying to stuff in his fridge or something like that. Yeah, like he's got a thing for stuffing things in Green Lantern's fridges.
That's awesome.
So, anyways, he ends up pissing out Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner ends up killing Major Force as Warrior. So when this is during Guy Gardner as Warrior. Warrior ends up killing Major Force. But the problem is that turns out Major Force can't actually be killed. Because he exists in pure energy. So he ends up getting recreated, he ends up reconstituting himself, he comes back, ends up fighting Guy Gardner again. But after the first clash with Guy Gardner, he got a hold of Guy Gardner's blood, and he ended up integrating the
ability to change
the Voldarian DNA into his own DNA, giving the ability to manipulate his own matter, his own body's matter.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So now not only has the ability to create dark matter and into any construct that he wants, but he can also manipulate his own body into whatever he wants as well.
Uber powerful.
Very, very powerful. And like I said, he is a powerhouse. He is he could go toe-to-toe with DC's physically strongest characters. So we're talking Superman, we're talking Black Adam, we're talking Captain Marvel, Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman. Like, we're talking the biggest of the heavy hitters. He's up there.
That's some pretty big boasting rights.
On top of that, he's immortal. He can't be killed.
So even if you do beat me, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those characters are such a piss off.
Yeah.
Because, like, at the end of the day, you can't ever really beat them or kill them. You just have to restrain them or trap them or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Throw them in another parallel universe.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them. Throw them in space.
You reminded me of something. We'll get to that in a second. I found out something really interesting about Kyle Raynor. Forgot where we find out about that.
I think he can go in between universes.
Well, Green
Green
Lanterns give them the Green Lantern powers give them the ability. Like Green Lantern has the ability to time travel.
Really?
Yeah, like Hal, when he became parallax, he was trying to rewrite time. He was trying to reverse time so that his hometown was never destroyed, and also bring back try to reverse all these different tragedies and whatnot. He was trying to use his Green Lantern powers to rewrite time, rewrite history.
Yeah, that won't go over well.
No.
Barry's gonna have a thing to say with you. Listen, I tried for my mom and it just doesn't end well.
No. Kyle ended up, when he moved to New York, he ended up joining Titans. And,
really?
Yeah, and he ended up dating Donna Troy for a little bit.
I believe that, okay.
Yeah.
But joined the Titans?
Yeah.
Was he the only Lantern that ever joined the Titans?
I think so.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
It makes more sense, though, because he must have been younger.
Yes, very much younger.
Must have been way younger.
Yeah.
Based on just the time that he got brought into Continuum.
Yeah.
That makes sense, then.
But he didn't stay in the Titans for very long. Shortly after that, he ended up joining the full-fledged Justice League of America.
Our Lanterns are too strong to be on a child's team.
Yeah. And by this time, he's the only Green Lantern. Once again, John Stewart, he's a paraplegic. Guy Gardner, he's not a Lantern. He's the warrior.
Parallax is now evil. Hal Jordan gone, right?
Yeah. 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 And funny enough, when he first joined the Justice League, him and Wally West did not get along.
Somebody's got to beef, right?
Well, mainly because Wally grew up with Hal as Green Lantern because Wally was Barry's psychic. Barry and Hal were good friends.
Right. So he's like, "Who the hell are you? Like, you aren't Hal."
Exactly.
Kind of giving him the run, right?
Exactly.
I don't like you as much as the old guy.
Yeah, but then they ended up getting past that, and Wally ends up becoming Kyle's best friend. Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like they wrote a book on this.
And funny enough, Batman gave Kyle more respect than he ever gave any of the other previous Lanterns.
It's because he has fear?
Sort of, yeah. So
Batman he's the king of fear.
Well, yeah, he likes to use fear to manipulate people, but it's not really that. It's the fact that how Guy and John, they don't know fear. And the fact that you don't know fear, the fact that personality type was what required to become a Green Lantern, they had 100% faith in their Lantern. Their unfallible, undefeatable faith in their Lantern ring and whatever skill set that they had prior to become a Green Lantern. Where Kyle, he has the willingness and the ability to learn and adapt and improve.
Right, so Batman doesn't like that they think they're complete. He knows they're not. Where Kyle knows he's not, and he's willing to try to fill the void.
That's right.
Because Batman's all about, I know I am not. Batman's very humble.
Well,
in the sense he knows he's human.
Well,
he knows he needed to do every single fucking thing on Earth to even compete with these other people.
Yes. And somebody had told me this before, and I never really realized this until he told me that. The real sign of... So, Batman is known as one of the most intelligent people in DC, right?
Because he's able to seek out that information to learn what he doesn't.
Well, that's just it. So, but he's regarded as one of the most intelligent people in this universe. A sign of somebody who's intelligent is somebody who has the ability to see that they are fallible.
Yes.
Somebody who is too dumb to see their own flaws is dangerous.
Have weakness.
Exactly.
What about that right there?
Exactly.
Oops.
Whereas Batman, that's how intelligent he is. Because he knows that he's fallible. He's not perfect.
Well, you gotta look in Batman's fighting style, in the gadgets, armor, equipment he uses. Everything is to avoid taking hits.
Yeah.
To be elusive and to turn the tide of the encounter for his favor. He fights in the dark.
Yeah.
He fights with protection and gadgets and things to disillusion and dismay and sway his opponents to run, to fear him. There's 10 of them here.
Yeah.
No, it's just me. It's just a man. If you actually use the gun, like, you know what I mean? Like, but he knows that if he fights this way, he does things this way, he loses.
Yeah.
So he'll try and tilt the scale in his favor, like any strategic tactician will.
Yeah. You'll use the terrain and whatever advantages you can.
Like, most lanterns won't, though.
No.
Because they'll just run headfirst into it thinking, you know what, my ring
will
will defend me, it will protect me, it will attack for me, it will do everything. This is all I need.
That's right.
Batman and Kyle realize, I need my team. I need everything. I need to walk into this with the approach that I might not walk out.
Yeah.
Everyone else walks in thinking they're going to walk out.
Yeah.
Kyle walks in being like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I don't know. I like it because it's that self-doubt that is going to keep him humble and keep him alive.
That's right. It also makes him unique to all the other lanterns.
Mm-hmm. Now, he is unique, very unique, in
Yeah.
the sense that he doesn't stay green.
Well, yeah, we won't be going into
We're not going that far?
We're not going that far in this episode.
We'll leave it there then.
Yeah. So, so while part of the Justice League, he ends up starting a relationship with Jade, who is the daughter of the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott.
Ah.
So, yeah, and then he ends up becoming friends with Alan Scott. So he ends up getting starting a relationship with Jade. He becomes friends with Alan Scott. He becomes friends with Alan Scott, Green Arrow, Connor Hawke as Green Arrow.
What does it say? Who's that? That's the original Green Arrow.
No, Connor Hawke? No.
Who's Connor? Oh, that's his son.
Yes.
That's his son.
Yes. And so Connor Hawke as Green Arrow, he becomes friends with
I
Kyle.
got confused as how the hell Alan Scott's still alive after.
Well, Alan Scott. No, Alan Scott is it's the Alan Scott. It's not Alan Scott's son. But it's like because remember we did the episode on Justice Society of America. They were given some kind of serum to prolong their life and whatnot.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So that's why he's still alive and he's still not like ancient.
Right, he's not like, sorry Ben, Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Like he's still old. He's like in his 60s or 70s, but he should be in his hundreds.
Yes. Cloning 2.
Yes.
Like,
Well, no, not really. Like his first appearance in 1940, so let's say he was 20 when he was. Let's say he was
going
20
on
years old.
100-ish or so. He's maybe about half that.
Well, at this point here, this wasn't like at this point that we're talking about the 1990s.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah, we're still in the 1990s at this point here. But yeah, he ended up becoming friends with Arsenal Roy Harper, which we haven't talked about in this episode. Well, actually, we did a little bit in our Green Arrow episode.
Yeah, we talked about Speedy a bunch.
Yeah.
His clones, losing his arm, going through his junkie days. We talked about it.
Yeah. And then also becomes friends with Guy Gardner as Warrior. And also John Stewart, who is, once again, like I said, no longer a Green Lantern at this point.
He's paraplegic.
Yes. John Stewart does end up getting healed, though. We did talk about this in our last episode. That it was Hal who ends up healing him as the Spectre. He ended up healing Jordan, and John ended up getting he ended up getting a new power ring as well. He ended up becoming a Green Lantern eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This brings us up to almost 2000s?
Yes.
How far are we going on today's episode? Are we going much into the 2000s?
Yeah, we're going to go into Rebirth,
Okay.
and just shortly after Rebirth.
Okay.
We're stopping there now. So he ended up becoming Ion. So this is the Kyle Raynor that I became familiar with.
Right.
So what Kyle ended up doing is that Hal ended up telling him about the leftover Green Lantern energy from when he ended up reigniting the sun. Kyle ends up merging with that leftover Green Lantern energy, becoming like the sole carrier of the Green Lantern energy. There is no more Green Lanterns in all of the universe. Kyle Raynor is his sole Green Lantern, and he ends up.
Is this after Hal killed every lantern?
Yeah.
So that's why there's no more lanterns.
That's right. So there's no more Green Lantern. There's no more Guardians. Kyle is the only Green Lantern left, and he ends up absorbing whatever's left of the Green Lantern energy in the universe, becoming a god, becoming Ion.
Right. Now, is the Yellow Lantern Corps up and running at this point?
No.
Sinestro's just dead.
Yes.
He's gone.
Yes.
Amazing. Perfect.
Yes. So when he becomes Ion, he ends up... He gained omnipresence, which means that he could be anywhere. His presence could be anywhere in the universe.
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan. Yeah. He ends up becoming... He can bend time, space, and reality.
He became Dr. Manhattan, but he keeps his clothes on.
Yes. Yes. But he didn't stay Ion for very long.
As a writer, you don't want characters to stay that powerful for very long.
No, he ended up talking to Superman about it. Superman is the one who encouraged him to no longer be Ion.
Give it up, man.
Well, yeah, pretty much he said that it's not good for anybody to be regarded as a god, because the things that you're doing right now, people are regarding you as a god. People are going to start worshiping you soon. That's not a good thing. He's like, why? People have worshipped you as a god. Yeah, but I've been doing this for how long? You just been doing this for a couple of days, and already you're becoming god status. Nobody should have this amount of power.
Says the guy with the power.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even want it.
No.
I've tried to give it away. At this point, I can't. I can't shake it. You don't want it.
Yeah. So Kyle ends up listening to Superman, and he sees the reason, and ends up using his powers to reignite the central power battery and bring back the Guardians of the Universe. So giving birth to new Guardians of the Universe.
Nice.
Yeah. So the Green Lantern Corps, the Green Lantern IO is back up and running. The central power battery is reignited, and they could start powering new Green Lanterns.
They can create new rings.
Yes.
They can start handing them out and basically replenishing the numbers of the Corps.
Yep.
Kilowog's still dead, though.
At this point, yes.
Poor Kilowog. This brings us into 2000s.
Yeah, we're in the 2000s right now. This happened like in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
One side effect of him being Ion, though, even after he gave up the powers of Ion and he's now just a normal Green Lantern again, is that his ring will never be out of juice.
He never has to recharge it.
Well, he still does need to recharge it because it'll lose potency. He recharges it to get it at full power, but he'll never run out of juice. So he'll never be helpless.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So then after that...
It's a nice perk to have.
So after that, Kyle... So Kyle has a friend named Terry Berg. And Terry Berg is openly gay.
Okay.
Alright? And one night, Terry ended up getting beaten up into a coma after some guy seen him kissing his boyfriend.
Yeah.
Kyle found the guys that were responsible for this and nearly killed them.
Okay, tit for tat.
Yeah. Yeah, he stopped himself from doing that. He didn't want to put himself to that same level that they are.
Right.
But, and his friend ended up coming back from the coma and ended up going through rehab and whatnot. But Kyle still felt guilty for what happened to his best friend.
Yeah. So
he ended up exiling himself into space.
Just being like, I am not worthy.
Pretty much, yeah. So when he decided to do this, he ended up appointing John Stewart, who is now able to walk again and has now his Green Lantern powers back. He ended up appointing John Stewart as the protector of this sector of Earth while he's gone off on exile.
Okay.
Well, so John Stewart remains on Earth. So John Stewart is the Green Lantern of Earth, while Kyle's going to go and protect the rest of the universe, kind of thing, and the rest of their sector, kind of thing.
Yeah, because he's kind of like, I'm not worthy to stay just on Earth when I have all these other places
Well, I
to
just
protect.
can't deal with this shit.
Yeah, I can't deal with it. I'm just gonna run away for now.
Yeah. But then when eventually Kyle ends up coming back home, and he ends up actually getting an apartment with Terry.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's why I decided to bring that up. If they ever do a movie with Kyle Raynor, there's a good chance
Probably
they will
Terry will
introduce...
be in there.
Terry Bird will be introduced in there as well. Yeah.
They always need those side characters to drive the plot, give them the humanity outlook, right? Rather than this all-powerful god being which just flies around space.
Yeah.
They gotta ground him.
Yeah. Kyle ends up fighting Major Force again, and after the Major, he ends up killing his mom, or so he thinks. It turns out it was just a mannequin, I think it was. But Kyle believed that Major Force had killed his mom.
Kill my girlfriend, kill my mom, keep breaking my freezer.
But I think his mom really did die. I don't remember how she... No, she died from something else. No, so Major did not kill her. But during this fight, Kyle ended up decapitating Major Force and launching his head into space.
Oh, I should have stuffed it in a freezer and his body in space.
You should have.
That's what I would have done. Head in the freezer, body goes to space.
Yeah. But then Kyle exiles himself once again because he feels like his presence on Earth only puts...
detrimental to those around him and his loved ones. Yeah.
Exactly.
Typical hero journey.
Exactly.
All I do is for nothing. Keep hurting the ones around me. I'm out of here.
So during this exile is when Green Lantern Rebirth happens.
Alright.
And during Green Lantern Rebirth, Kyle finds Hal's body and brings it back to Earth. And the reason why
he's floating around in space?
Well, yeah, I'd have to reread it. But the reason why he ended up finding Hal's body and bringing it back is because he found out some really crucial information. Kyle, while he was out in space, he found out that when Hal was parallaxed, running amok, killing everybody and whatnot, he was actually under possession of a parasitic entity called Parallax. Parallax is a parasitic entity, non-corporeal embodiment of the emotion of fear.
And did we not see Parallax in the Green Lantern movie with...
Sort of.
That was supposed to be Parallax, that giant cloud thing that kind of like was Galactus, or I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, the space cloud.
The big head dude.
Yes. No, big head dude was that was somebody else. That was Hammond, some Professor Hammond or something like that.
Ah.
Yeah, he is an actual Green Lantern villain. No, the big cloud, space cloud you saw in that movie, that was supposed to be Parallax.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not cool.
But yeah, and Kyle also found out that... So, one thing that we covered in our last episode, we didn't talk about it here, but Green Lantern has always had this one weakness, and it's one of the lamest weaknesses in all of comics history. And I mean, I could say this with confidence. Their vulnerability, their weakness, Green Lantern's weakness, is to the color yellow. Not to a substance known as kryptonite, not like a metal like iron. Their weakness is to the color yellow. Anything with the color
the sun?
Yellow.
So they're weak during the day, like everything?
Yeah, I don't understand how that works. But I gotta throw a banana at them.
Ow! He shot me.
Yeah.
But...
Well, effectively, what happens is that the banana will be able to go through their constructs. Their constructs can't stop anything yellow.
So they're not physically weak; their constructs are materially weak to yellow.
That's right. That's right. So if you're completely dressed in yellow, their constructs can't touch you.
So if I was a bad guy,
yes,
of Green Lantern,
yes,
I'm gonna paint my whole fucking house in yellow. And
yes,
he's never coming over.
That's right. That's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that would be my evil genius plot. If I was a Green Lantern villain, paint the whole world yellow. You gotta go, bro. Yeah. You just gotta go.
Which is even more lame than Alan Scott's weakness. So Alan Scott, he can't affect anything made out of wood. So he can make a shield, protect himself, but throw a stick at him, and go right through it.
I don't know what is worse, wood or yellow. What if it's yellow wood? Then you're just double fucked.
Yeah.
Bamboo?
Yeah.
Bamboo must be the worst thing to a Green Lantern.
Yeah. Bamboo stick, just. But so Kyle, when he found out about Parallax, what happened was he found out about the whole entire history of Parallax. What happened is that Parallax was an entity that existed centuries ago, millennia ago, and the Guardians ended up fighting Parallax and ended up capturing and containing him inside the central power battery. And so Parallax, this entity of fear, ended up becoming the yellow impurity inside the Green Lantern's power battery and the source of their weakness to the color yellow.
Right.
So when Parallax left the central power battery, they lost that weakness to yellow.
Good.
Yeah.
So now their lame ass yellow weakness is gone.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, Kyle found out about all this, and we as readers don't know about this until Green Lantern Rebirth.
Oh, and that's when Kyle spills the beans.
Yeah, he tells about all this about the Parallax being a.
So I've been doing some research and I found out.
Yeah. The Guardians ends up considering Kyle as the torchbearer. He was the Green Lantern that carried the corpse through its darkest period. He carried them on his back, quite literally.
Yep.
On his hand, quite literally.
Yep. I got you.
Yeah. So here's the interesting bit. In Infinite Crisis, Alexander Luthor, remember I was talking about Alexander Luthor in Crisis?
His grandson or whatever.
From Earth 2?
Yeah, he's like super smart.
Yeah. So Alexander Luthor ends up telling Kyle that had the Crisis on Infinite Earth never happened, if the multiple universes had not merged into the one universe, Kyle would actually have been from Earth 8.
Oh.
Yeah, Kyle would have technically been the Green Lantern from Earth 8. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I did not know that either.
Because what is Earth 8? Like, Earth 8 is...
It's just another one
it's
of the...
irrelevant. It's just, you would have been a Lantern in a parallel universe.
That's right.
So even if all this other shit didn't happen.
That's right. He's like, Alan Scott is from an alternate Earth. He's from Earth 2. But since Crisis, all the Earths merged into the one true Earth, and Alan Scott ended up getting merged and being put into this Earth's continuity. Like, well, same thing happened to Kyle. Same thing happened to Black Canary. Something happened to all these different characters from all these different universes.
Well, it's like even John Stewart and Guy Gardner, their original Lanterns probably in some other multiverse.
Yeah.
Rather than being third and fourth.
Well, no, they were all from Earth 1 before Crisis.
And they don't exist in a different universe?
Well, they might have existed in other universes. But the ones that we have definitely are from Earth 1.
Yes, of course.
Whereas Kyle was not a Green Lantern before Crisis, so they can say that Kyle was actually from Earth 8. Or would have been from Earth 8.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And... I think... Yeah, that's pretty much everything.
That brings us up to about where we need to be.
Yeah, oh, well, so... one last thing I wanted to talk about is that Kyle ends up going back to being Ion. So during Infinite Crisis, Jade ends up getting killed.
Uh-oh.
And when Jane gets, in her dying breath, she ends up imbuing her powers into Kyle Raynor. So her powers is the mystical Green Lantern powers. It's from that heart that I was talking about. And so that power, combined with his Green Lantern ring powers, ended up making him become Ion again. This omniscient being that could manipulate...
Because he basically drained Ion out of him by recreating the power battery and like re-giving birth to all this stuff. He essentially, by giving it life, drained the power of Ion.
That's right. So now, he's now Ion once again. I was desperately looking for that issue because I actually have that issue. I have Ion issue number 1, or I had it, I just couldn't find it. So in the multiple years of moving. Or it might have been lost. It might even be lost within all the moves that I've done and everything.
We'll hope not.
Hope not, but it could very well be that it's lost to time. But yeah, I had that issue of Ion as Kyle Raynor as Ion. I'm a big fan of that idea. I like Ion. I like God mode Kyle Raynor because, like I said in the last episode of Green Lantern, I grew up to Kyle as Green Lantern. Kyle's first appearance was 1994. I got into comics in around 1994. 93 and 94 is when I got into comics. So as Kyle was becoming a Green Lantern, I was just getting into comics.
Yeah. So it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time for those ones to be popular and for him to step into the big spotlight.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have an affinity for Kyle. That's why Kyle is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think I got introduced to Hal.
Yeah.
Hal's who I knew from way back, like with all the old like movies with Justice League and shows. I think it was all Hal.
It was actually mostly John.
Was it John?
Yeah, like Justice League Unlimited.
No, I mean before that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Before that stuff, like even prior to that, like the old shit, like the Super Friends. And shit
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. That's all Hal.
Yeah, that would have been Hal. Yeah.
That's all Hal.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of that stuff.
Yeah, see, that's what I grew up watching my childhood on, right? And then my dad had all the comics from Hal.
Yeah.
From early 90s.
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah, it would have been 80s, 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, so because I think he was born like 64.
No, so he would have
had all the 70s and all the 80s.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's why that age of comics is always what I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the ones that I should be familiar with are the ones that I'm not, which blows my mind all the time. Because it's like, well, those were the ones being popularized when I was like at that age.
Yeah.
Why don't I know these guys?
Yeah.
It's because I know all the OGs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
But it's goes to show again, everyone's interpretation of comics might be different.
Yes.
Based on when you picked it up.
Yeah.
When you kind of came into comic lore.
That's right.
It changes.
Yeah.
It's always changing.
But that is everything I had on Kyle Raynor, and it's a good place to stop because at this point
There's so much more stuff.
Well, at this point here, after this happens the Sinestro Corps War, and then after
Blackest
the Central
Night.
Corps War, it goes into Blackest Night, and then it becomes Whitest Night, and then everything that happens
Darkest
after
Day?
that. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, there's a bunch of events that happen, but I have all the Blackest Night comics. I'm going to read them all before we do our next episode of Green Lantern.
All right. We'll be ready then. It won't be for probably a month or so.
Oh, more than that.
Probably a month or two, three at least, before we do our part 3 for Lantern.
Yeah.
With that said, who do we have on the blocks for the next coming weeks here, Kenny?
We were looking at Fantastic Four for next week.
Yeah.
All right. Kick it back to the Marvel original family.
Yeah.
And then who do we got?
After that, we were thinking Dick Grayson.
Dick
Yes.
Grayson, good
As
old
a matter of
Nightwing.
fact, just a couple of days ago, I just finally finished season 2 of Titans.
Finally.
Yeah.
It ended well with Dick, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with his Nightwing costume and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sold on who they had play Bruce.
I'm not so... And he looks like Alfred to me. He sounds like Alfred to me.
I just see Jorah Mormont from fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so hard to drop Jorah.
Yeah.
Like, I would have preferred a different Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Me too.
That being said,
Like I said, he looks like...
Dick's sweet.
Yes.
Nightwing, the way that they did his costume,
Yeah.
they introed his character.
Yeah. Jason Todd, I really like the guy who plays Jason Todd as well.
Yeah, he's a good little whippersnapper.
Yeah. And I like their Donna Troy.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
She's good. Beast Boys are right.
Yeah. I like Raven. Raven's growing on me. She's still not Raven, though.
She's too young in Raven's career, I think,
Yes.
to embody the
Yeah.
Raven.
Well, she hasn't been called Raven yet. She's just being called Rachel.
Yeah, she hasn't gotten her name at all.
No. She hasn't used her... She hasn't taken a form of a Raven yet or anything like that. She just used, like, black tendrils.
Her powers pretty shitty at the time.
Yeah. Well, Beast Boy, too. I mean, like, Beast Boy is only transformed into a tiger. That's all he's ever done in the show. He hasn't done anything
Has he not
else.
done anything else?
Nothing
Even when he
else.
was with Superboy in the park?
No. Just tiger. That's all he's done.
That's pretty weak, too.
It is weak.
I'm expecting more out of him.
Yeah.
Is it like? Do you think it's based on budget?
Yes.
Well, he did Tiger. We know how to do that again.
Yeah, yeah.
Superboy, thoughts? Is he too much of a pussy?
Oh no, I like him quite a bit actually.
He plays the. I'm still new to everything, but I have damaged goods.
Yeah.
He plays that well, like having the
He's
Clark
confused.
and Lex's
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah. He's constantly confused, which rightfully so. I mean, like, he is conflicted and confused. People are constantly trying to manipulate him and influence him. And,
I think they got a good
Yeah.
actor for that one.
yeah. And he's got the look, too. He doesn't look like a Superman. He looks like a Superboy.
Yeah, like a fit like football player from high school, maybe.
Yeah.
Not like, yo, this guy just won Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I feel you on that. Superboy versus Superman.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, kind of got off track there. So yes, so next week, Fantastic Four. The week after that, Dick Grayson, the original Robin.
You got it. All right, so that'll be episode 26 coming at you next week. This is episode 25. We will have, what's our newest YouTube episode up?
Jessica Jones went up. The audio has been fixed. For some reason, when it got uploaded to YouTube, the audio died.
Oh,
So
perfect.
it was re-uploaded.
So yeah, we got our episode for Jessica Jones up. It's our most recent one. Check out our YouTube, subscribe, follow there if you're not. That way you get all the notifications on videos being uploaded. And yeah, hopefully you guys tune in next week for Fantastic Four.
well, look at that. You got a script going.
Kenny's on it. Go microchip, go. All right, thank you for tuning in, guys. I'm out. This is Justin.
And I'm Mitch.
And thanks for tuning in to Worlds Collide. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. sharp.
Cheers.
See ya.